Hi, me again. Um, yeah, so check it out. This is post cleaning. Not that it was really. Well, okay, where the camera is now is a lot closer to me, so I'm not like sitting on the edge over here with the camera further back by the door. It's about a good 2 feet from the door, 2.5 feet from the door. So that's closer to the bed, and everything you see over here is. Yeah, it used to be over there, so yeah, it's. Well, I did throw away some boxes, and I propped some stuff up, so that's something. It's something. Anyway, yeah, I didn't really have a plan to really what to say about all this video. I just said turn it on. I just felt like doing it. I was in the middle of watching an episode of Major Crimes. I know that's kind of dated at this point, but yeah. So yeah, point in my life. Tonight's last night. I work at the pizza place. No longer the pizza man. I'll be going on to another job, so I'll be driving full time, weekdays and weekends. If this all, you know, pans out properly, and I will have consistent, hopefully consistent income, and everything will be fine, and a lot less judgmental, and I don't know, a lot less immaturity. When you work for someone, you want to work for that person. You see them as your kind of betters in in any regard. They are the leader, you know. And if you have a leader who refuses to lead, you don't want to follow that person. Like I said in the last video, it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Nothing. Okay, well, I'm gonna make a choice because you said you don't care. Oh, then you're on me because he feels bad about himself. It's like, really? Really? You're gonna start in on me now because you feel you don't like yourself, and all that other BS. It's like, just, can I just do my thing? Without someone trying to tear me down, tear me down. You know, Probably need to speak a little quieter. I'm not. It's like 1 in the morning. So yeah. Anyway, point is, this is yet another transitional period, and transitions happen. You know, that's probably what this will be. Transitions. That's the name of this one. Points in my life where back, uh, I go from one job profession to another. This is a bit more of the same, honestly. But yes, the points in my life where I stopped being unemployed, where I got a job or left a place. This is now going to be the new normal. And the only reason I took this job, the pizza job, was because the other job was kind of going to be hindered because it was back just when COVID hit, but not the lockdown yet. Where it's like, things are getting little much here. Uh, the parking lot attendant jobs are kind of drying up a little bit because the colleges are like pulling back, students are leaving. There's threat of lockdown. They say lockdowns are more and more of a thing, and then so I decided to do, okay, I'll do the parking lot attendant by day, and then the pizza place by night. Right, so I had most evenings, so I could do that. Then about a week into me working at the pizza place, which is highly toxic because the owner at the time, well, manager at the time, not the owner, the manager at the time for that branch was a raving dick. I'm not exaggerating. He was a grade A asshole, but he knew what he was doing. So I simultaneously hated and respected the man. He was verbally abusive. He was an angry man, annoyed man. But he knew how to run a tight ship. He knew everything was. He knew how to operate the 20 spinning plates, basically. He had mastered that. But with that came extreme, you know, not annoyance, but frustration, because it is a lot to handle, but he was able to do it. But that frustration just made him an ass. He lasted a year or so, and then he moved on, and then we got the revolving door of managers. Only the best one out of him was called Drew. I rather liked Drew. Drew was like Dumbledore in a way, where it's like, I know I must ask too much of you, Harry Potter, out of everyone else. And people lasted a few months to almost a year. Almost. No one really lasted a year. So it'd be like the contract services job all over again, where everyone just goes in and out, in and out, in and out, because it's a hard job. And of course, I stuck it out, and I stick it out more if I could, but seriously, I really do not want to answer to a child. So if he wants to, own hell that badly, like, have at it. It's yours. This is not a victory. This is just me moving on to something better, something less toxic. Because that's what Mark was in the beginning, was toxic. Heavily toxic. Kept, stoking up himself, just, I am awesome, I am great, clearly, I can do this with my eyes closed. That type of boss, where he thought he was just so superior and trying to get you to be a better person with wisdom, which he had, but he was also being a dick about it at the same time. I know, it's rather contradictory, but yes, he did have wisdom, and he did try to guide you through with that, but also making you feel like complete shit in the along with that. So yeah, but yeah, the revolving door of people. Oh God, and it was Jess, and the whole 2.5 weeks of in June where we were just inundated with orders, and we were just not screwing up. We were just inundated. We were just piled on. We're buried in orders up to over our heads. And people were upset. People lying out the door saying we've been here for an hour and a half. Where's my pizza? Orders not being fully complete. It was just pandemonium until it all just leveled out, and we lost maybe about half of our, client base, which is now what we're in now, which is peaceful and nice, and not, avalanche, in over our head. Thank God. Um, so yeah, and it got to the point where suddenly I'm only working 1 day a week. Like, wait, what? I got $3,000 I gotta pay off. I can't do 1 day a week. So I'm changing gears. I'm getting onto this other job, which is more delivering, separate from the weekday job. So it's only weekends, which is nice. So no more overlap. So on Fridays, I don't have to worry about, oh, oh crap, I gotta get to the other job. So I gotta hurry and get this done so I can get there on time, because it ends when it ends. I have no real say over that. I could try like mad, but again, it just is what it is. It ends when it ends. So I'm just leaving a toxic environment, because that's what happens on my jobs. I stay, I stick it out longer than anyone should, and then I leave when it's like, this is too toxic. I can't do this anymore. I literally just cannot. That's why I love contract services. They were asking a bit too much for someone to me, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. You know. But I'm glad, who I am. I'm really glad I'm a person who perseveres, who sticks with it, who tries and tries and tries again until he succeeds. I'm glad I'm that type of person. I actually had a conversation with my um, younger self, that inner child, and I asked it once in my head. I said, are you disappointed in me for what I have become? And he said, no, I'm not disappointed. If anything, I am proud of what you have become. achieved so much. You know, you're a brave person. You don't close your eyes anymore. You do what you need to do. You've learned to live beyond mom. Younger me just lost all reason to live. A day without her, it's just like, you know, there was no point to life without her. I remember those days. I remember when I was at grandma's and just a day without her was just like everything just shuts down. So it, me, is very proud of myself that I've managed to live 12 years and counting and keep all the spinning plates that I have that I've generated going. And I've created a few more spinning plates for myself, but I plan to take care of those by myself. I'm independent now. So my younger self is very proud of that. I've been on many adventures. I traveled to a few places: San Francisco, Sacramento, Orland, uh, Jacksonville, and then the highway back to Arizona and California. That was fun. But yeah, everything I've been through, everything I had to endure, you know, my first job, my second job, the concept of if you don't work, you don't get paid, you don't eat. That's that's the thing. You know, taking life more seriously, you know, understanding it's more on you, and learning what toxicity is, what the concept of abusive and taking advantage of relationships and dynamics are. There have been a lot of people in my life who've actually tried to take, well, advantage of me in some shape, way, or form, even when it's in a, well, a normal setting. People believe they're entitled to some things. Normally, my money. Commonality is my money, especially my tax return. If I had a tax return and I was living with somebody, they would incline that they'd have it. And they would believe that they'd have me believe that they loved me so much. Yeah. Again, I've lived with a lot of different people. I've seen a lot of different dynamics. And it's not always pleasant. But I've learned that. And I came through that okay. Primarily because I had a man in my life. My father, Michael. The man I call father. I'm not related to him. The man I'm related to is called Paul. I've never met him. He left my mother, I think, before I was born. Michael met my mom, Eleanor, at Barber College when she was pregnant with me, I believe. And then a couple of years later, they got married when I was 1. And that man's been in my life ever since. And he has always been there for me to help with anything and everything I needed. Wisdom, guidance. Look for Mrs. Right, not Mrs. Right now. He has given me decades of wisdom I wish I could retain and recite. But I know it's in there somewhere. And he's helped me a lot along the way, you know, and I'm glad I was able to be there for him on certain parts of his journey when he needed me. One of my earliest memories of this man was how much of a hard worker he was. Not just him, but how much a hard worker he was. I remember waking up in my mom's bed at 4 in the morning when this man would get up every day to go to work. He would work downtown LA. He would do the high rises. My uncle also did a lot of the high rises and stuff downtown too, so they were in a similar field. I don't think they were ever on the same project, but he would do that. And he'd come home around 4 or 5, in his little white car. And now we had the Toyota. He had that for a long while, and then that was gone. But basically, he would go out and work, and he'd be tired. But that's what you do when you would be not necessarily the breadwinner, but you would be a parent. Someone who provides. Period. Maybe you don't bring in the most, but you go out there, you do the hard work, and you come home. Both my parents worked. At that point, even my mother worked at Northrop. She was a janitor. I hated janitoring. Why? Because I had to work at a high school. And I had to tell her the difference. I said, this is just beneath me. I shouldn't have to do this. And she says, Greg, I used to be a janitor. And I'm like, I have to explain this. I honestly have to explain this to her. Alright, let me explain this to you, because apparently you didn't get it. Just saying you work at Northrop automatically gives you cool points. It's where they built the B-2 bomber. The bomber, that giant wing thing, the invisible plane. Come on. It's like instant cool points. I work at a high school. That's far more. It's a cliche, is what it is. That's what I don't like. It's a cliche. Janitorial at a high school. That's just so cliche. If you work at Northrop, that's not a cliche. That's corporate espionage at any possible point. The adventure could happen at any moment. You can break out into like some sort of Steven Seagal movie at any moment. Steven Seagal will come in. It's like, So yeah, see, that's automatic cool points with that. But yeah, both my parents worked the late '80s until the early '90s. My mom hurt herself in the shoulder. Then she stopped doing that. But there was a couple of years there where she was just not part of our lives too much until she hurt herself, and then she's part of our lives again. And then taken on a lot of smaller jobs since then. And my dad was picking up the tab for being the breadwinner, because he kind of was able to do that, go out there and do the more heavier lifting, and bring home the bacon more often. She kind of had to pick and choose her jobs, but she had a few jobs every once in a while. Nothing, long lasting. So she got into hospice, did that for a while. Anyway, but yes, I feel my parents raised me right. What respect is, what kindness is, how to have an open mind, how to have an opinion. No difference between opinions and facts. How to be a good person. They never allowed shit people in their lives. Not until after the first shit people, then they learned, like, I got it now. I don't know what the hell happened with Dean there. I really don't exactly. But he was an ass. But whatever. Dean aside, I was raised by really great people. Fantastic people. They weren't perfect, but they were damn good. It's empty. Just coffee. We see you kids. Thank you for doing such a darn good job. So, I guess that's it for this video. So, take a time, talk to your parents. I wish I could talk to my dad more. I do talk to him on the phone at times, but because of his job and COVID and everything else, we could only talk on the phone for a while. But it's good. It's good to hear his voice. I know he's not going to be around for much longer. I just hope I can be as wise and guiding to someone else when I am I mean, who I am? I'm 40. I got gray hair. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. All right. Well, take care, and as always, see you at the movies. Bye.